Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Season Ticket Holders. I'm your host, Dane Lillingston, and it is Fight Week, baby. And of course, we have our favourite fight analyst back by popular demand. It's been blowing up on Instagram, my DMs, the messages. Tommy Two Guns, bring him back. He's the Manly videographer extraordinaire, future Muay Thai champion. I hear he's now added golf champion to his resume. Tom Hayfield, welcome to the show, mate. How are you?
Hey, Dane, it's good to be back, man. What an intro. That was all time. I've missed your voice. I've missed these podcasts, man, but we are back, and what a card to be chiming back in for. It's probably the biggest card of the year. And what's been going on with you, man? You've been busy, you've been doing State of Origin, you've been in camp with the Blues?
Yeah, mate. We'll get into UFC 329. But as you know, mate, I'm a heartbroken boy from Queensland today because New South Wales did beat Queensland. Unlosable series for the Maroons. I'm going to say robbed, Tommy, and I will have more for everyone. If you want to check out a podcast next week, I'll do a full Origin breakdown. Queensland robbed by Ashley Klein. But congratulations to your men. You must have been pretty happy. I was in Kingscliff with the boys all week. They looked pretty calm and they get the job done. What did you make of the game, mate?
Oh, Dane, I was stoked. I was screaming at the TV. It was I was so pumped up. I couldn't sleep till midnight. I feel like the Blues did get lucky. There was a couple of dicey calls there. I know you're not the man to really have the conversation because I know you're a diehard Queensland supporter, but man, I'm over the moon, and it was a gutsy effort. And Nathan Cleary deserves like 200 grand for that effort. He was insane.
Yeah, Nathan Cleary, incredible performance. Laurie Daly answers all the critics. I heard a lot of interviews at the hotel in Brisbane on Thursday morning. Mitch Moses spoke very strongly on doing it for Laurie, so that was amazing. Jack Bostock definitely knocked it on. That try should have got called off. It changed the whole trajectory of the game, Tommy. But like I said, we will do a footy breakdown next week when I've had some time to calm down. I got flamed on X. I had a tweet last night. I was getting flamed. It's blown up. Even my boss this morning said he saw it. Said, explain what you meant. Guys, I'd just like to take a quick second to thank our sponsor, National Freight Management. They handle everything from cartons to pallets nationwide. You can find out more information on nationalfreightmanagement.com.au. Gerard and the team do a fantastic job. Unfortunately, Gerard is a Blues fan. I hope he forgot the bet we made at the beginning of the series because I may have to wear a Blues jersey for the next podcast. But hey, if you don't tell him, I won't either. Nationalfreightmanagement.com.au, check them out. Firstly, because it's this weekend, it's Conor McGregor versus Max Holloway 2. International Fight Week. It's been 5 long years since we've seen the notorious Conor McGregor in the octagon. Now, I remember vividly where I was back in July 2021, breaking that foot, that ankle against Justin Poirier, end of the first round. Comes back, snaps. It's disgusting, Tommy. You remember it. Where were you when you watched that fight?
I was actually at my mate Pat Nelson's house. I remember it vividly, and that when he stepped back and that leg just bent, it was hard to look at, and it still makes my skin crawl. I saw the replays in Countdown, and oh man, what a gruesome injury. There's been a few like that now in the UFC, I reckon, but that's definitely up there. And kudos to McGregor for wanting to come back.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of us, right, you probably agree with me, like, we didn't think we'd see it. I mean, it was supposed to be Chandler, of course, Michael Chandler. We were supposed to see that fight. That never eventuated. That's probably a more realistic fight now than what we could have had because getting chucked to Max Holloway, I know this is a rematch from, I think, 13 years ago, which Conor did win, but Holloway's been in there since the 5 years that Conor's been out, just fighting the best of the best in the UFC. I mean, you all know it, and we all know what he's been doing. UFC 300 against Justin Gaethje, against Ilia Topuria gets knocked out, defended the BMF belt against Poirier, and just lost a 5-round decision to Charles Oliveira. Those are some of the biggest names in the UFC that we've seen in the last, well, in the 2020s, right? Like, while Max Holloway's been doing that, Conor McGregor's been off on yachts, getting caught in public toilets, doing all sorts of white powder, I imagine, under the sun, allegedly. And, you know, how committed is he to coming back in here, man? But jumping back straight into here with Holloway, that takes some big balls, right?
It's massive. I feel like the Chandler fight would have actually probably worked out better for McGregor. It's probably more evenly matched. We've got a fit Holloway here. He looks amazing in the countdowns. He's got that size, which will be cool to see him fight with. And man, his gas tank, he's just is through the roof. He can go 5 rounds. He can go 10 rounds. Where Conor McGregor, he's notoriously known for gassing, and 1 or 2 rounds in, it'll be interesting to see what happens. And McGregor with such a long layoff, who knows how long he's going to be able to withstand the bombardment of Holloway and the work, the just what he puts in, and it's just going to be insane. I got my blessed Max Holloway t-shirt on here. I'll be wearing
Represent.
that this weekend. He's my boy, and oh, Robbie Whittaker, that's
I've
nice,
got the
man.
Whittaker on. We're ready.
Sick. Yeah,
Headlining the
I'm
prelims.
pumped. And I can't believe, like, McGregor, he's obviously come back from that gruesome injury. It was horrific, and all credit to him, because he doesn't need to. He's got all the money in the world, and he obviously misses fighting. He's a fighter at heart, and what an opponent to come back to, Max Holloway. I feel like the UFC has dealt him a pretty tricky card here, but imagine if he just snipers Holloway, with that left hook or something, and then McGregor is now puts himself into a title contention, and how much would the UFC love that?
Yeah, man. I mean, obviously they're moving on up for this fight. It is going to be at welterweight, which is a couple up for Holloway, who's done it before. Connor's obviously looks like we've all seen the training videos. He's bulked up, right? He's thicker. You can see that he's at a bigger size. I heard a preview earlier today talking about that he will have the knockout power, you'd imagine still, but his gas tank will be pretty low, right? I can't imagine this fight going 5 rounds in Connor's favor. That's for sure. Max Holloway, completely different story, but I can't see any world in which this fight goes 5 rounds, right?
Yeah, it'd be hard to see. I don't want to get into my prediction just yet, but I think it's probably what a lot of people are predicting. But I think Conor McGregor needs to KO. I don't know. I can't see this going to the ground. Could you see this fight going to the ground, Dane, or what do you reckon?
I can't see it going to the ground. I can't see it going 5 rounds. I can only really see this fight ending one way, which is KO, TKO for one of them, right? I mean, that's got to be what you're thinking. And if it's not one of those things, I mean, there's been lots of shocks lately, whether it's Queensland, New South Wales, State of Origin, Ilya Taporia against Justin Gaethje. I mean, there's plenty of upsets. Once you think there's a lock in sport, it has
What
a
a
really
comparison. What
it
a
has,
comparison.
it has a great way of sneaking up with you and humbling you on the chin, right? That's just the way sport is, no matter
Yeah.
what the sport is, right?
I've had the best week of sport ever. New South Wales Blues win into a McGregor card. Like, it doesn't get much better. And if
I'm
Manly wins, I'm calling in sick. It's the trifecta.
and I'm retiring. Mate. So fight prediction wise, but before we get into fight prediction, we've talked a bit about Holloway, we've talked a bit about McGregor. I just wanted to cast our minds back, because you and I have been fans for a long time. We know what it was like to watch the rise and fall of Conor. We were there. We weren't bandwagon fans. We were already following the sport. I'll just tell you mine, and I'm sure you hit me back with yours. But I remember I wasn't a believer until the Aldo fight, and then all the trash talk coming into it. I was in Team Aldo. I know that there was this trash talk and punk from Ireland coming up, rising swiftly through the ranks. But it wasn't until that insane knockout that I became a true believer. And from that moment on, I really was a Conor McGregor fan. I remember getting the shirt. I remember the excitement of a Conor McGregor fight. It was like nothing else. I mean, the Khabib fight, I remember where I was for the Eddie Alvarez fight when he moved up, became a two-time weight division champion with the lightweight belt. That was, of course, after the doubles against Diaz. He lost the first one to rear naked choke, won the next one by decision. And then the build-up to the Khabib fight was probably nothing like I've ever seen before. The excitement, even though I don't know, looking back now, how confident we were that he could even handle Khabib, but the build-up to that fight, the hype watching the fight. I was in Airlie Beach up there at Magnum's in the sports bar. There were Irish flags. It was going absolutely nuts. Incredible atmosphere. I don't think I've seen anything since when the build-up of a Conor fight, the way he would walk out, the fan support, the fight week, the hype was around it. He was truly something else. The one truly world global megastar the UFC's ever had. Maybe Ronda Rousey to a slightly lesser extent, but Conor is the guy, the number one guy in history of the sport, and still is. Of course, a lot's happened since then, but that was the rise of Conor. We all know what happened. He obviously went to boxing, to the Mayweather fight. Things didn't work out in those two fights against Poirier. But it was a ride, man. It was an incredible ride. What's your experience of the Conor McGregor era?
Well, it's like nothing the sport had ever seen. I jumped on the Conor bandwagon, I reckon, around the Mendes fight. That's when I started to believe, and I was like, wow, this guy's, something special. And man, I used to hang off every word that he used to say. Like it was almost gospel. Like it was, as a young man growing up. I was like, wow, he's super inspirational. He's achieving amazing things. I remember the Aldo fight. I was just moved out of home. I was living with my mate Brisby, and we had about 20 of the boys in the living room. We used to have a ping pong table. It was just a full boys' house. And Conor McGregor just slept Aldo in like 13 seconds or whatever it was, and we lit up, and he brought so many good times, and it was just such a spectacle, and I'd never seen anything like it, and that's Conor McGregor to me will always hold a place in my heart, and it was such a cool thing to experience. He was like the Tyson of my era, or like the Muhammad Ali or something. That's what he meant to me, and definitely a lot of my mates. And it was cool to witness that growing up as a young man, and still a fan to this day. He kind of does my head in a little bit. No, I don't love him as much as I used to, but man, he was amazing, and yeah, it was such a cool era.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and of course, after that's a fall from grace. That injury, that's been 5 years. He's since been found civilly liable for sexual assault and battery in Ireland. A lot of his Irish fans are very well off him. We all know what's happened off the field, or out of the octagon, I should say, as well. He did Roadhouse. I don't know if you caught that. Interesting movie. I don't think he's going to win any
I liked
awards.
it. I liked that movie. I didn't mind it.
Mate, it was interesting. I mean, I
I
like Jake
watched it with my
Gyllenhaal,
wife. She didn't really like it, but I liked it. I thought it was good.
and I
I might have
suppose
to watch it again before the weekend.
hype yourself up. Don't worry about Countdown. And Bare Knuckle, he's known as obviously a big ambassador for Bare Knuckle now as well. But a new generation of, I suppose, post-COVID, post-2021 UFC fans don't know what it's like. And he is back, and it is a bit weird because he is past it. It's a bit different to Ronda when she'd been out for even longer and she was against a fellow fighter who had been out for so long. This is coming up against Holloway, like I said before, an absolute
Mm.
beast.
Super active.
Inactive, right? Super
Mm.
active. And I
Mm.
suppose the big question heading into this fight is how serious is he taking it? I mean, I'm sure he's doing everything right. I was listening to John Kavanagh's coach. He seemed to be pretty confident. He said the main theme of this camp, they always have a theme heading into all the different fights, was communication. So I can only imagine that Conor's being honest. You'd have to hope so, because if he's not being honest with his coach and himself, this is going to be an embarrassment. The last thing he wants to do is tarnish his legacy any further from what you and I remember as big fans back in the day. How serious
Has
do you
there
think he's
been
been?
any has there been any Mystic Mac predictions, or he hasn't dared to do that?
Well, I don't know if you saw this, Tommy, but it's off to a bad start because there was a video on KO, shout out to KO, doing the rounds. He predicted Queensland to win State of Origin. So that was posted on the season ticket
Mm.
holders' Instagram. Unfortunately, hasn't aged too well. So if that's a taste of what things to come, not good, mate.
Yeah. So,
Tommy,
but no predictions for his fight?
I haven't seen anything, but you tell me. You listened
Yeah.
to his media day, and I listened to an interview with him a couple weeks ago. He sounds clean. He sounds confident. He sounds happy. He's not as brash as I feel like he was in the lead up
Mm.
to when he was prime. Bit more honest, maybe, introspective of where he is at in his life. What have you made of this week, his build up, and listening to what he had to say?
Yeah, I watched just the media day little press conference they do. It's not the massive big press conference, and it was Conor McGregor, and it was typical salesman Conor. He had his new energy drink there that he was marketing. He kept bringing up bare knuckle fighting. Like he's obviously he's got all these businesses, and this is his avenue and opportunity to push them. He had a little crack at Justin Gaethje, which was interesting. But other than that, he kept quoting God, and it's cool. Like he's found faith and stuff by the sounds of it, but it's not old school Connor. It's not the Connor that we grew up with, and I'm not hanging off every word anymore. I'm not, listening to everything, going, "Wow, this is really cool." I'm kind of listening to it, going, "Oh, this is, it's not great."
And that's what it's been like, right? You'd expect there to be more excitement, but it's just not the case. It's been too long. Too much has happened. It's like bad ex-girlfriend coming back into your life. You just don't know how you feel. You've
What
moved
a
on.
comparison. Yeah, but
You're in love once,
you'll
right?
still
You're in
watch
love
the fight.
once. Things were great at one point in your life, but then now they're taking a turn. We've moved on. We're a bit older. We're a bit wiser, and you just don't want the same
Yeah.
things anymore, Tommy. So, look, I do want to do a shout out to. Do you like that one?
I'm losing it. That was great. That's your Mystic Mac prediction, eh? I like it.
It's true. Now,
Yeah.
the odds aren't as crazy. Gamble responsibly, but the odds aren't as crazy as you'd probably imagine. I'm looking at Conor only being like a $2.80 underdog, which to me seems a bit crazy. He's being out for so long, he should be like $4 or $5 if you ask me. Holloway obviously favourite at $1.40 or so, depending on where you look. Conor knockout is like $3. Decisions up to like 13 and submissions up to like 26. So the heavy favourite here
Wow.
is Holloway by knockout. And Tommy, I
Mm.
think you and I might have a similar feeling, but I can only see this fight really going one way, and that's Holloway 95% of the time just knocking Conor out, finishing TKO, Conor retiring at the end of one of the rounds from taking too much damage if he doesn't just get flat knocked out. That's the only way I can see this fight going. You agree?
I agree. I feel like a round 2 or 3 TKO for Max Holloway. I feel like McGregor will be copping too much damage. He'll go to the ground and Holloway will finish it with punches and the ref will pull him off. That's how I see this fight going. But hey, there, like you said, there's been some upsets lately. The Gaethje Ilia Topuria fight at the White House, that no one saw that coming. So who knows? Imagine if Conor McGregor shocks the world and he is back in a big way. And I think there will be a lot of people that'll if you put some money on Conor and he's paying for a KO, they'd be pretty happy. So who knows?
Crazy, mate. But yeah, like you said, anything can happen. So bring it on. I'm still going to get excited. I think it will kick in when you actually see him walking out. I think that's when it will really kick in. I'm not getting too excited
Yeah,
like,
the
the week of
spectacle
the
of it all.
fights.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to, we'll get into where we're going to watch it later, but I'm going to be in a prime position. I'll be ready.
How do you see it going, Dane?
If Conor can get out of the second round, I think that would be a win. That's
Yeah.
probably how I'm looking at it. If he can get out of the second round and be competitive,
I've got some news. My Max Holloway signed poster of the UFC 300 knockout of Justin Gaethje. If you're a long time listener, I bought that while I was drunk one night after that fight. It has been promoted from the spare room, which is now the baby room / nursery, and it is in the hallway. So it is prime and center, and my wife is not impressed.
oh, you have to take out a mortgage. So I'm happy to know that it's finally been promoted.
Yeah, it's like $800 well spent.
Online shop responsibly, everyone. Tommy, co-main event. Benoit Saint-Denis against Paddy Pimblett. This is a pretty stacked card. Now, Saint-Denis is on an absolute tear. 4 straight finishes, back-to-back knockouts. That Benil Dariush one back in November in 16 seconds. Most recently, in Sydney, how could we forget, against Dan Hooker, did well to survive. We were at that one, obviously, TKO just towards the end of the second round. Riso Houfi and Kyle Prepelec before that, 2 back-to-back submissions. And then Paddy Pimblett, we don't have to cast our eye back too far. Justin Gaethje for the interim UFC lightweight belt. We know how that's turned out now at the White House. No fluke at all. Decisioned him over 5 rounds and a fight of the night performance. Incredible run that Gaethje's on, but Pimblett looking to bounce back against the guy who's an absolute killer right now in the division. How do you see this one going, mate? Because it's another exciting fight.
This is going to be fireworks. I can't wait for this fight. What an epic co-main event. Like, this card is stacked. Every fight I just can't wait for. So this is going to be awesome. I feel like Paddy Pimblett, he gave Justin Gaethje a run for his money. That was a great fight, and look what Justin's gone on to do. So if Paddy can kind of, hang with Justin like that, he's going to pose some big problems for Benoit Saint-Denis. He's looking to bounce back after he's lost to Gaethje. So, but then you look at Benoit Saint-Denis on the other hand, he's just solid, well-rounded. He's a weapon. It's going to be close. I don't even know how to call this. What do you reckon, Dane?
Odds are pretty even, and I think that's a fair enough reflection of the fight. It's hard. Pimblett was on such a good rise, but we obviously know he ran into a guy who is now the outright lightweight champion, well-deservedly, stopping the monster that was Ilia Topuria. So if you got to read into it, he did last 5 rounds, with him. So you got to look into it now thinking, man, that's quite an achievement for Pimblett. On the flip side, 4 like brutal finishes for Saint-Denis. I don't like to go against a run, Tommy. I mean, I'd be tipping it for 5 in a row, but this is a fight that really is hard to predict. I think we could get fireworks. Pimblett's shown that he's pretty durable. I'm going to lean towards Saint-Denis getting another finish. What do you reckon?
Oof. I think you're right, but I'm gonna go with Paddy Pimblett just because I'm a massive fan and I just want to see him rise. And yeah, I reckon I'm betting with my heart, not my head there.
I think the best thing about this fight, though, is that you could see all 6
Mm,
outcomes happening, and that's the beauty of the fight. It could be a
definitely.
decision either way, knockout either way, submission either way, right? And that's what makes it such a good fight.
100%. That is such a good call. It could go any way. That's why it'd be so hard to pick. What would your prediction be, Dane? What would you be putting your money on?
It's hard with him because you don't know whether to go knockout or submission, considering he's just had 2-2. Does he go for the
Mm.
third TKO KO in a row? Pimblett, let me just check. I did Pimblett's losses, right? So he's only lost. He's lost back in 2013 to a technical anaconda choke. That was a long time ago. Since then, he's just had the 3 decision losses. So only ever been stopped once in his career. 4
Mm.
losses. That's 1 submission, 3 decisions. He is 23-4. So it's a big call now for me to say he gets finished again. But Saint-Denis is on a tear. I do feel like now that I've thought about it out loud, decision is probably a good shout. But I'm going to stick with the say
Oh,
Saint-Denis knockout, mate. What do you got?
I'm gonna go the opposite and just bet with my heart and do Paddy Pimblett KO or TKO, I reckon. Like, yeah. But I don't know. Who knows? It's an
I know a
interesting
better
one. It's
bet.
gonna be epic.
Better bet is neither of us will win money.
Yeah, whatever we say, the opposite will happen. It'll be like a third round submission to someone.
Completely wrong. Let's move on to the next fight, mate. Like you said, stat card, Corey Sandhagen, Mario Bautista, bantamweights. Now, Sandhagen most recently went down in that title fight against Merab Dvalishvili back in October it was now, so he's been out for a while. That was a 5-round decision. Bautista most recently back in February against Vinicius Oliveira, a rear naked choke towards the end of the second round. Performance of the night, performance, he's 17-3. Sandhagen's 18-6, but we know that he's been around forever, up in that title decision. He's fought only really the best and the best, and only lost to the best of the best in that division. But he's been through some wars as well. What do you reckon about this one, mate?
This is another epic fight. I can't wait to watch this one. I'm a big Corey Sandhagen fan. He's like a scientist. He's like this geeky kind of dorky like professor, but he's just a freak and he's so technical and he's just awesome to watch. And I love watching him fight. And he's just good everywhere. And yeah, I'm so pumped for this one. What do you reckon, Dane?
I'm going to go very simply and say I will back Sandhagen to get it done again. But again, the beauty of this card is every fight is basically, even just looking at apps, like these are even fights, right? There's no real, at
Yeah.
least in the main card, there's no one who's a blowout. Like looking at this, no one is more than like a $2.80. Conor McGregor is the biggest underdog, put it that way, on
Mm.
this main card. So that's how, and he's only 280. So thinking of it in a betting wise, every card on this main card is even and could legitimately go either way. It's a multi-better's nightmare, the way this is going to go down. So I'm just going to go straight up Sandhagen. I think he'll win. I don't even want to pick a method, but that's the excitement of this main card. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm going to go Sandhagen. I'm going to go submission, but I could see it going anywhere. But yeah, another epic fight. And this afternoon, there's just going to be all time. I cannot wait. It feels like Christmas is coming.
Friggin' on. International Fight Week, of course, Las Vegas, T-Mobile Arena. Flyweight, mate. The next one, Brandon Royval versus Lona Kavanagh. Now, Royval is lost coming off back-to-back. That's right, Manel Cape back in December. First round knockout. Back-to-back losses for him. Kavanagh coming off a win over Brandon Moreno in a performance of the night in Mexico back in February. That was 10-1. He was bouncing back from a loss as well. Royval is 17-9. Don't love that record, mate. On Wikipedia, lots of
Mm.
pink, which means loss if you don't know. What do you reckon about this one?
Yeah, I don't know how to call this one. I'm not like massive fans of either fighter. Royval's been around for a long time. He's been in some wars, but yeah, I don't know how to call this one, Dane. What do you reckon?
Kavanagh decision is the favourite.
Mm.
That is paying the lowest. That is a prediction for this fight. And then finally, to kick off the main card, the King himself, King Green
It's your
against
boy.
Terence McKinney, El Rey, which is the king in Spanish, mate. Espanol, muy bueno. 3 straight wins for the king, mate. He's on the top of the mountain, the king of the castle at the moment.
The name change has brought his career back.
Did that coincide? Was that the same time? I don't know exactly when
I
he did
think
it
he
now.
lost like 1 or 2 with the name change, and everyone thought it was like, "What are you doing?" And then now he's back. So Bobby Green to King Green, and he's on a roll.
Mate, 3 in a row now. Last time was only in May. I didn't think it was that long ago. It was only 2 months ago.
Mm.
Jeremy Stevens, he's been around forever, he missed weight, and it didn't matter because he got rear naked choked 4 minutes 20 into the first round. Before that, the King, TKO'd Daniel Zellhuber back in February in Mexico. So this is already his third
That was a big
fight
win
of the
because Zellhuber had a lot of hype.
Yeah, and not to
Yeah.
mention February 28, May 9, now he's fighting in July. He's had 3 fights in less than 6 months, or he's about to have 3 fights in less than 6 months. I didn't realize that before. That's incredible. He's also 39 years old.
I was going to say, yeah, he's getting on, so he mustn't have taken too much damage because you think at that age you need a bit of time to heal up. So he's obviously just trying to make as much money as he can before he gets too old and his career's done, maybe.
Well, it's pretty incredible to think about. And McKinney, he fought back in March. He got a incredible knockout. He got TKO head kick and punches against Kyle Nelson. That was in a fight night, the Adesanya fight night back in March. 24 seconds into the first round. He was coming off a sub loss, though, to Chris Duncan and Anaconda choke back in December. So 1-1. His record is 18-8. But geez, just thinking about all those stories, man, betting wise, probably should think King Green might be past at 39, fighting for a third time in 6 months. But I'm back in the streak, baby. I love the streak, Tom. You know I love the streak, baby. What do you reckon?
Yes, never go against the streak.
Never been against the streak.
You said that to me when we were at Volkanovski in Sydney, and I've taken it on board, and I've actually now when I go to bet, I look that up, and I'm like, this is what Dane's talking about, but it doesn't always pay off.
I was going to say, and has your account gone north or south?
No, it's gone south. Yeah, but
yeah. Welcome to the
you
club.
live and you learn. Yeah,
that's it, mate. You win some, you lose more. Gamble. Tommy,
you're hunting for that sports bet sponsorship here, eh?
I know, because I've switched to Better, because they offered me better odds over the last few weeks. There's been too much sport happening, from the World Cup to the UFC to rugby league to F1.
We've been spoiled.
Yeah, and I am on a terrible losing streak, so do not take any of my advice. Mate, I'm back in the King. Who you got?
I'm going to go King just because he's the history. He's your boy. I want your boy to get through, Dane.
He's only a slight underdog. McKinney is a slight favourite. So there you go. That is the main card. But, mate, just for us, for you and I, and for all the Australian fight fans listening to the podcast, we get our excitement at the main event of the prelims. Robert Whittaker moving up to light heavyweight, making his debut in that weight division against Nikita Krylov. I was listening to a podcast with him before, and Mighty Mouse, excited. Rob spoke a lot about how he can finally be natural in his weight, how he can still eat how he wants to eat. He sounds like he's a bit of a foodie, so he says he's been really happy with that he's still eating foods this close. He said he used to have to starve himself a bit at middleweight. It sounded really positive. He sounds in a good headspace. He's been out, of course, for a year. I didn't realize till I looked that up. He's been out for a whole year.
Wow.
Hadn't fought since July back in 2025. And you remember that one. It was very close. It was a split decision loss to Reina de Ritter. That was a really close one back in Abu Dhabi. And then before that, we can't forget, that was October 2024. Time is flying. Hamzat Chimaev, when he face cranked him and almost ripped his bottom jaw off. His teeth went into his bottom gum, had to get jaw surgery. But before that, he'd put together 2 nice wins against Ikram Eliskerov and Paulo Costa. So that was in 2024. He was on a little bit of a surge to a title run. Of course, it didn't work out. He's decided to move up. He admitted in the podcast I was listening to, he knows he's near the end, but he wants to try and enjoy it and make one little final tilt, get some nice results. What do you reckon? How do you think this light heavyweight move is going to work out for him?
I can't wait to see it. I'm so excited. Rob, he's been fighting the best of the best in the middleweight division for forever. He's an ex-champ. it wasn't working out for him towards the end there. So he's now moved up. This is a new lease on Rob. And interestingly, I saw he still said he still has to cut weight, but it's just not much. So he must walk around at a decent weight. I saw on Embedded, he's there with his kids in his pool. He's got lots of kids and he looks healthy, man. He looks big. He looks solid. He still looks lean. And imagine the power. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait.
I think I actually heard him say he walks around at like 225, which is like heavyweight, which is pretty crazy.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
yeah, he said he's just naturally heavy. That's what he was saying. He's actually going to be the slight favorite, which I was a little bit surprised. 12-month layoff. He is getting on, our boy Rod. Give us plenty of good memories. The former middleweight champion. He's 35. Same age as me, actually. 1990 boys represent. Who doesn't love the Spice Girls? But it'd be really good to see.
Oh my God, where did that come from?
I don't know, man.
Yes, thank you.
That's my memories of the 90s and Britney Spears. Hit me, baby, one more time. So look, I'm cool. I'm keen to see him go, mate. You heard his record. He will have his work cut out for him. I was looking up Krylov before. He's coming off a TKO win. And obviously, I think more of a natural light heavyweight. He's 34, similar wage. He did lose back-to-back, so interesting record. He got a KO back in January against Modestas Bukauskas, and then he was coming off back-to-back KO losses in the first round against Bogdan Guzkov and Dominic Reyes. We all know Dominic Reyes. He's had a bunch of fights, man. He's 31-11, so he's lost 2 of his last 3.
Wow.
All 3 have been by knockout, and Rob... It's going to be interesting to see what Rob's knockout power is at light heavyweight. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I reckon Rob can knock anyone out. So a bit more weight on him, and I can't. Yeah, I'm so excited. What a way to top off the prelims, and it just shows you got to put these fights on early. It's an earlier fight card as well, Dane. Have you noticed that? I don't know what's going on with the time zone difference, but the prelims in Sydney start at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
And then the main card is from 11 a.m. So
Yeah.
that's earlier than what we're used to, but it just shows you got to get down to the pub early and crack a beer at 9 a.m.
For breakfast.
That's living.
You got to book your table.
Yeah.
Paramount.
It'll
I don't know
be
if that's...
packed.
Yeah, it will be. I mean, that's the other interesting thing. We'll get into it in a sec too, where we're going to watch the fights. But like, people, the casuals come out for Conor. I'm sure there's people who haven't really watched UFC for the last handful of years who are going to come out for this, right?
Yeah, everyone comes out of the woodworks for Conor McGregor fight, and so should they. It's a spectacle. This could be the last time we ever see him. Who knows? So, like you said, all the casuals, everyone's heard of Conor McGregor. Who doesn't want to come watch him fight?
I think what I was looking into was that he still has 2 fights to go in his contract. So there was belief that like they would be happy for him to win this fight, but probably not the next fight, because I think the big fear, if we're getting our business conspiracy hats on, is that Conor McGregor has a future in fighting. It just probably won't be with the UFC. So you think about, there's Paul there and Netflix. Is there a Diaz in the future? Is there another gimmicky boxing? I'm sure there's a YouTuber out there. Like there's money out there for Conor to be made. And I think no matter how humble or how much he's found God or whatever he wants to talk about in the lead up to this one, he's going to want to keep being in the headlines, So
he might just be ticking these 2 fights off, get out of his contract and go on and, do those Netflix cards. He could be getting 50 mil a fight again, like he did with Floyd Mayweather. So this could be a box ticking exercise, and it'll be interesting to see how much heart he has in it. But in saying that, Conor McGregor is a fighter, and he wouldn't be coming back at all unless he wanted to. So you can't write him off. It's going to be awesome.
And I think, there's a chance too, if this isn't competitive, this would be his last real fight. Even if he fights in the UFC again, there's a good chance that this is his last really competitive fight. Because if he's not up to it in this one, I mean, he's getting chucked to an absolute dog in Max Holloway. If he's not up to this one, then it is gimmicky fights for his future. And I think he can make lots of money, and there is an appetite out there for people to want to see that. So he can very well do that.
Maybe Chandler might be his last UFC fight, and they finally give Chandler that opportunity for wasting his time.
Very good call. I think that's a good call. Chandler's on the way out as well. Why not just feed them to each other? And let's not forget too, Carlos Prates was actually supposed to be McGregor's opponent, which that's even worse. Can you imagine?
Big problems.
He just ate up Jack Della Maddalena, the champ, former champ.
Conor would have died.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's when I read that, I thought that was ridiculous. So
Yeah.
sensible minds prevailed on that one, but we get what
Yeah.
we get, mate. Rob Whittaker, we've got to wrap it up. Decision. Oh man, maybe I'm leaning towards decision. I think knockout is the slight favorite, but 3 rounds, wants to feel him out. I'm sure he wants to make a good showing. That's why I was interested about the knockout power. I'm going to lean more towards decision. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I agree, Dane. I reckon decision. I think it could be, that's 3 rounds. It could be a bit of a 3-round war. Rob, super experienced. He's got cardio. I can see him getting on top. So yeah, hopefully Rob gets the win in any way.
Bring it on, mate. Also on the prelims, Gable Steveson. He is the Olympic gold medalist. He's coming off 3 first-round KOs to start his career. He'll be in there against Alicia Ellison.
Do you know much about him?
He had a WWE career, or at least started a WWE career, and also an NFL career. So he's just an athlete.
He's John Jones's boy.
He's right.
John Jones's boy. They train together, and I think this is his debut, Dane. I think this is his first in the UFC.
UFC, yeah. So he's had, that's what I was looking at his record before. So he's had 3 MMA fights, all first-round TKO finishes. He fought in Mexico for Mexico Fight League. Before that, he fought on something called Anthony Pettis FC 21, and he made his debut at LFA, the Legacy Fighting Alliance. That was back in 2025. So he's put those 3 wins together in the space of September to February, and he hasn't gone past 4 minutes in a fight. So
pretty cool to be signed to the UFC after 3 your MMA fights, and with John Jones in your corner backing you, and I saw that he was paying $1.03.
He is the shortest price fighter on this card. Hey, but we just talked about upsets, so let's not write anything off.
Maybe put some money on the other guy, and it might pay for all the losses of the other bets.
Well, just looking at his record on Wikipedia here, the 2020 Tokyo gold medal, 125 kilo freestyle wrestling. He also won a gold at the
Olympian.
Won the gold at Pan American Champs in 2021. 2017, he was an under-20 world champ gold medalist, and all the way back to under-17s, he won back-to-back gold medals at 2015 and 2016. NCAA Division 1 champion. We all know that is the top elite echelon. He won gold in 21 and 2022 in 285 pounds. So as far as wrestling pedigree goes, he's up there with one of the very best that will ever step in the octagon. So impressive. That's probably one to watch.
Can't wait to see.
If you can get there, that'll probably be on about 10 a.m. Eastern time, if you can make it. Also on the undercard is Cody Garbrandt, former UFC bantamweight champion, coming off a weird decision win in March. I think that's when the guy got deducted 2 points. And let's not forget, Tommy, the final one, our girl, Tracy Cortez, friend of the show. Still waiting, Trace. Headlining the early prelims, looking to bounce back from a submission loss in November. Tommy, massive card. What are you doing for the fights this weekend?
Got an epic day planned. We're going around to a friend's house and a bit of a barbecue. The fights are on. There's a crew. I can't wait. I'm going to be there about 9:30 and locking in, and I can't wait. And then the Manly game is on at 4 p.m, so it's all going to time perfectly. But we'll probably head to the pub for that.
I was just out at Manly earlier today talking to Tom Trbojevic, so there you go, mate.
Oh, good. Nice. What are you doing for a day? Are you down the Sporting Globe? Have you got a crew? What's your plans?
Shout out to the Sporting Globe. I was able to wrangle an early finish, so I still have to work till about 10 a.m. So I will hopefully just get there in the nick of time for the main card, have a table at the Sporting Globe. Shout out to the Sporting Globe, best sports bar in Sydney. Still not even getting paid for that plug. But awesome place to watch the fight.
Best tots in Sydney.
Loaded tots. Beer towers, 4 Pines, shout it all out. Give us a sponsorship. Tommy, can't wait, mate. Great to be back with you chatting some UFC. I know it's been a while, but we will get back into a regular thing. But this is a massive fight card. We couldn't leave it out. So thank you very much for joining us once again on Season Ticket Holders.
Thank you, Dane. Awesome to be back and bring on the fights, man. This is what a weekend. What a time to be alive. Conor McGregor's back.
Let's go, baby. And thank you guys for everything. Give us some likes, some love and support. Give us a follow on Instagram. Give us a 5-star rating on Apple and Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. It would be a big help. As always, take care, enjoy the fights, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.